In 1854, the South Yorkshire Railway built a branch between Barnsley and Sheffield, between Wombwell Main Junction and Winkerbank Junction. I'm here today with Wetdog.
Good morning.
I'm going to be following the route between Wombwell Main Junction towards Sheffield.
The South Yorkshire Railway was a railway company with lines within the West Riding of Yorkshire. Now initially promoted as the South Yorkshire Coal Railway in 1845, the railway was enabled by an Act of 1847 as the South Yorkshire, Doncaster and Goole Railway Company. This incorporated into its permitted line of the Sheffield, Rotherham, Barnsley, Wakefield, Huddersfield and Goole Railway south of Barnsley, the River Dun navigation and the Dearne and Duff canals, and it had permission for a line from Swinton to Doncaster and other branches. On the 10th of November 1849, the first section of the line opened between Swinton and Doncaster, with the remainder opening early in the 1850s. Now in this series we'll be following the route of the South Yorkshire Railway's Blackburn Valley line between Wombwell Main Junction and Winkerbank Junction. In this episode we'll be following the route between Wombwell Main Junction towards the site of Dovecliffe Railway Station.
If you remember in the last episode where I did the Worsborough incline, you'd remember that there were a signal box just here that controlled the junction. Now there were 3 lines that peered off. Our focus will be towards Sheffield. Now between here and Sheffield there was 8 railway stations on this line. So behind me you would have had Aldham Junction. We're now on the Blackburn Valley line, so this is the Sheffield route, so going towards Sheffield, and then you have the Worsborough incline that goes down towards Silkstone Common. So this is our route here. So here is where the start of the line would have begun its venture down towards Sheffield. We're going to walk down here now. This is, like I say, where the line was, grown with trees. And then to the left, we're going to come up towards a spur towards Wombwell Main Colliery. So walking adjacent to the Worsborough incline, so check out that series if you've not seen that one already. I'll leave a link in the description below. Down there you can see the cycle path that was the Worsborough incline. That was actually at a lot lower level. Now this line, the Blackburn Valley line, was on a constant incline towards Dovecliffe. And as you walk up towards where Dovecliffe station was, you can see how much the ground goes up. Now to the left here we're at a spur towards the Wombwell Main Colliery, so this was a pit line that went up towards that colliery. Our Blackburn Valley line, we're gonna have to walk down here. We're going to follow the route now towards Dovecliffe railway station. So we've headed back onto the track bed. Before we do continue, found here an old drainage channel which doesn't look like it's been used for absolutely ages, but I'm guessing that would have been used as part of the track back in the operation day. Now this line closed back in 81. So looking back that way, you've got the Wombwell Main Junction, and we're now onto an embankment. So let's see what we've come across. Got a couple of boundary markers that mark the territory of the railway. Now we've come to a quite interesting structure on the line. Now this bridge that we're stood on top, it's got quite a bit of well, it's got some history behind it, or some mysterious history behind it, what I'd say. So it's known as Convict Tunnel. Now even though it's not a tunnel, it's actually a bridge which we're stood on. So we're going to go down there and give you a little history on what this bridge is about. Now this line was actually a single track line, but it does look like wide enough for 2 trains, so I wonder if this section was actually widened. We're going to go down and have a look at the bridge from the side. Now this top section looks like concrete. Now it looks more modernised to me. I don't know if this was an original part of the bridge, because There is another section below it. Now you can tell this is all blue brick, original blue brick. But then it looks like we've got some reinforced concrete. And I wonder if here there's a couple of holes on each side where potentially could have been some wooden beams or something. Got some wood there, and I wonder if that's the remains of some kind of fence post. So come down off the side of the embankment, and this is the bridge that carried the Blackburn Valley line across. But it does have some interesting history behind this. This is actually known as Convict Tunnel. And I'll give you the history behind that in a second. We'll just have a look at the condition of it. You can see it's got some stone, it's like a stone arch, and then at the top section is like blue brick. And you can see a lot of cracks at the top. And then just under here you can see this reinforced steel that supports the bridge up. It's probably about 20-30 yards. If you just have a look at the other side, it's actually a lot wider. You can see more blue brick, stone wing walls, and at the top you can see a lot more cracks. Now this line closed in 1986, so it's not been used for quite a while. Looks like an old drain pipe just there. And again you've got the stone section at the bottom. And you can tell there's a lot of mason's marks on the walls here. You can see quite a few. Now the history behind this tunnel is saying that this Convict Tunnel that's located in the woods is said to be the main hotspot for activity, with stories going back generations and generations. And obviously assuming only going back to when the line was actually built. So there's a lot of suicides and murders that took place in the woods around here. They're also saying that the history behind the tunnel is that in the 1800s, the fields around where the tunnel is was obviously campsites for convicts that were being transported. Also very interesting for anyone wanting to do paranormal investigations. Pete, if you're watching this, here's your spot. Anyway, back onto the track bed. As we leave the bridge, we'll come onto another embankment. So we're now approaching a section where our line would have crossed over the current operating Midland line. Now there was a bridge that carried our line across the top, and we're going to see if it's still there. It's unfortunate we've come to a section of the track now and it's all fenced off. This is the location of where there would have been a bridge. There is still some remains left, and after we've done this we're going to have to go walk back and then try and find our way back onto the track bed. You won't be able to make out, but you can probably just see the current Midland line. And our line would have run across over the top of the Midland line. Obviously that bridge, which you can just see the remains of here, is now being demolished. So we've literally had to walk all the way back up the Worsborough incline and then come back up a hill to the other side and continue on our track bed. Now there you can see the abutments of the bridge that crosses over the current Midland line. And obviously you can see the bridge has been demolished. And there's like a boundary fence here. Our line then continued down here and through a cut-in. We do have the remains of some concrete fence posts here. We've got a couple. One's Looks like it's been snapped, and you've just got one intact there. So after making its way across the bridge into this cut in here, so this is literally just disused railways. There's no conversion or anything. Obviously there's trees that's grown on the site of the railway, and there does tend to be a little bit of ballast down. You can see here we're into the cutting. Which is literally just woodland. There's the other side. Now on the other side it's quite interesting because we are actually running alongside another railway which was at a lower level. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back and show you where the junction to that railway was. Just to look at it from a higher level, where it's all fenced off down there is where the branch to the Barrow Collieries went. We're going to be walking alongside that, but at a higher level. Still quite a bit of ballast down. There are a few relics that are still left, but here's another view of the cutting. Now you can't really see the other line that we're walking adjacent to because it's on the other side of that cutting. Got the retaining walls, that's still intact, a bit of loose stone there. There is a signal post that's marked on the maps, and I think this is it here because you can see the base of it. It looks like it was a steel one. Yeah, it was. There's not much of it, but yeah, there was a signal post here, so I think that was it. Now the cutting is about 40 or 50 feet, maybe even. Looks like potential recent landslips here. You can see how the trees have moved. Now this is an abandoned section of the line, so this wouldn't have been touched for years. It closed in around 1986. Got some kind of signal pulley here, so like a guide wheel on there. That's just poking out. That's just still left behind. So that's looking back towards Wombwell. Now we're going to continue towards Dovecliffe. Now down there we're referring to that pit line going towards Barrow Colliery. You could just see it down there, like you can see here. That was at a lower level. So this is our track bed on the Blackburn Valley line, and then down there was the pit line. Got the remains of a telegraph pole here. Not sure how high it went, but you can see it's been snapped off. There's no traces of it around. So anyway, back onto our track bed towards Dovecliffe station. So we're now walking on an embankment. It's quite a steep embankment actually. You can just see down there, that's the other railway line we're walking alongside. Now you look down there and think that was track bed, but this is the embankment. We're getting towards Dovecliffe railway station. You've got Dovecliffe Road up there. You can see the remains of a boundary wall, and we're still in like a bit of a small cut in here. Well, maybe so, more like an embankment actually. Got another cable post here. Now the track bed would have been more to the left of us here. There is a little footpath on the outside, so we're coming towards something up ahead. Another fence post embedded into the floor. We've just come across this building here. Wow, this was actually a coal hut. Concrete top, built out of blue brick. It's a really good find. We've got another cable tensioner down here as well. But slightly further on, we have the remains of what could potentially have been a track layer's hut. Now there's some foundations of a building just here, and just here you've got more concrete pillars here, and you can see what remains of an old building here, which we believe was a track layer's hut. If you have a scope around the other side, now this looks like it was made out of old concrete. Looks like there was more here, or was that a window? You know, some of the building seems to have collapsed. I'm not sure if it was just through natural cause or through vandalism. But brilliant, still left behind. So yeah, we believe that was a track layers hut. Looks like this is the remains of a relay cabinet. You can just see the wood that's inside with the nails on. Now what's interesting is this here was the site of a footbridge. Now what's even more interesting is the footbridge was taken up but relocated, and I have actually covered a video of where this bridge was relocated to. It wasn't too far away, which is down at Elsacar. So if you haven't seen that video, please give it a watch. So down at Elsacar station, the footbridge that was located here is now located down at the Elsacar station, which is obviously closed now due to the COVID pandemic. But there are some remains, what looks like some remains here of the bridge. You can see some red brick there. There's not much on the other side, but the maps do show that the bridge was actually here, because it's actually before we get to Dovecliffe station, which is here, and you can actually see the curve in the road that splits between the Barrow Colliery line and the Blackburn Valley line. Now I'm going to just head back slightly back towards Wombwell, and I'm just going to come to this point here because there is a picture that's been taken from this location, the coal hut that you can see on the right. You might not be able to make it out, but you can see the footbridge in the background, the level crossing, and then you can see this little cut in here. And we're just going to fade the photo in and show you what it looked like. Now I'm just stood in a location where you can see that there was the level crossing. So it was called, from the signalman's view, there was a signal box around here, and I'm assuming that this picture was taken from the signal box. So just here you can see where the footbridge went over the top, that one that we're referring to, that's now down at Elsacar. You can see that wall here going down this road, and I'm stood in exactly at this spot where this picture's taken, so I'm going to try and fade it in now. I've just been told that this is an abandoned lamp. So this used to be the illumination lamp that was to light up the level crossing back when the line was operating. So you can just see it, it's all rusted up there. So that signal box that I was referring to, where I took the picture, this is the remains of the signal box, just here. So we're at the site of Dovecliffe station. I took that picture. Now that picture would have been taken from a slightly higher level, and what's even more interesting is that we found some platform remains of Dovecliffe station. You can see how it had red bricks. You can see, just seen down there. So you would have been stood right here waiting for a train. Now there is a photograph taken from this exact spot, which I'm going to fade in. You can see the siding going off to the left, the level crossing and the bridge in the front, and the signal box. So that was the newer signal box that was slightly more that way. So I'm just going to see if I can fade this picture in. Now the station opened with the line back on the 4th of September in 1854, and it closed on the 7th of December in 1953. And it was a through station. It remained open till the line through the station remained open till 1986, and it was to allow freight access to the Barrow Colliery, which was further down that way. Now although the through line to Sheffield was severed between Birdwell and Westwood in the late 60s because of the construction of the M1 motorway. Now the station was originally named Smithley for Darley, Main and Worsborough, but then it was changed by the end of 1855 to Dartcliffe, and then it was renamed again back in the early 1860 to Dovecliffe. Now obviously it was controlled by that signal box which sat at the corner of the station roof, and when the line opened, obviously as a single line, there was no block working, and when a box was needed it was required to be placed on the outer side of a bend to give better visibility, with the station buildings being very close to the level crossing. The only place where the box could be erected was on the station roof. Now the platform does go on for quite some distance. You might not be able to see much. Obviously it would be better to come back down here in the winter, but if I just show you from what I can see, more platform remnants here. You just see the red brick and then the stone base. Absolutely brilliant. There's some very interesting finds on this line so far, and it does continue a little further down. I'm still going. Still going. It's quite a long platform. And actually it does become a little bit more visible further down. There you can see a little bit more of it. Absolutely brilliant. Just opted up onto the platform. And here is where, coming down to the dip to where it would have ended. So that's looking along the platform back there. That's what it looks like now. Just across from the platform we've come across another signal pole, or what remains of a signal pole. Anyway, thank you very much for watching part 1 of the Blackburn Valley line between Wombwell Main Junction and Dovecliffe Station. So if you want to see part 2, don't forget to like the video, please share the video and subscribe. Thank you from myself and Wetdog.
Bye, see you later.
And we'll see you again for part 2. Take care, bye bye.